subcommittee has 5 bills before you all this afternoon. First one, HB 1400, Doug Bell's Virginia Virtual School Bill, which y'all have heard on multiple occasions before, but the essence of it is the bill establishes a 14-member board that will govern a newly created statewide virtual school. The school would begin its operation in the 1920 school year and would be open to all school-aged children, including those that are currently attending public or private or homeschooled in Virginia.
And I'm not mistaken, this is similar to what we had last year?
Yes, sir.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please cast your vote. It's going Dexter. All right, hit it again, Charlie. There you go. Clerk will close the roll. The bill report is 9-5.
Next up, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 1408, Delegate Ware's bill for the student vision screening, and it has 4 line amendments before you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And please just briefly explain the line amendment.
Basically, the line amendments change the mandate to have the screening to a shall provide the screenings if the school principal so chooses to do so for the applicable grade levels.
Right, Lance?
Yes, we have made the line amendments provide a may provision. I apologize. Thank you for the corrections. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm trying to lock it back.
We have a motion, we have a second. Okay, all in favor, please cast your vote. All right, the clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 14-1 as amended.
Also, third bill up, House Bill 1605, Delegate LaRock's Parental Choice Education Savings Account bill. Again, similar to what's been before the subcommittee before. This one is a little more expansive in the sense of student eligibility, and I'd be delighted to go through the details of it if you so choose, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Susan? All right, all in favor, please cast your vote. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 9-6.
House Bill 2174, patroned by Delegate Murphy, has 2 line amendments before the subcommittee, from the subcommittee to the full committee.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bill's reports.
Oh, for the bill, okay.
No, the bill is before it was amended.
The amended bill, it just expands the annual report that school divisions have to make available to the public regarding the pupil to teacher ratios to now include the ratios at the middle school and high schools at each school in the divisions. There's no fiscal impact on the age group.
We have a motion. Have a second. All in favor, please cast your vote. Right, clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 14-1. He rides alone.
Last bill, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 2395, patroned by Delegate Klein, has 1 line amendment from the subcommittee.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The bill reports as amended.
The amended bill simply states that if the school division has employed at least 1 reading specialist, that at least one of those reading specialists will have training in dyslexia and identification thereof to assist students.
Is this a mandate?
No, sir, it is not.
Not a mandate, but that's, well, if they
Well,
have
if
it.
they do.
Mandating that if they have it.
If they have a
Bill,
reading
then
specialist. Yes, and it's at the school division discretion.
Yes, sir.
I believe the amendment is not, Susan, carves out if the person is an administrator, if they have to be solely, if they're solely an administrator, then,
They are excluded.
okay.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
that
you
was
for
a
that.
fix we didn't expect.
Down in education.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
Hester? Okay, all right, do you have a motion? Second? All in favor, please cast your vote. All right, clerk, close the roll. Bill reports as amended, 16-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next, we have, looks like, Susie Nurse, H.H. There'll be no money left. Susan and Susan show. It's like everyone else is looking for crumbs.
I was feeling so good about the day too, Mr. Chairman. First bill up is House Bill 1549. This is Delegate Farrell's bill. This is an amendment in the nature of a substitute that was adopted by the subcommittee.
All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, substitutes before us.
What this does is add to the core of services to be provided by the community service boards or the behavioral health authorities to include same-day access to mental health screening. There's a second enactment which delays the effectiveness of the bill until July 1 of 2019, and it requires annual reporting by the department on the progress of the implementation of the act. There is money included in House Bill 1500 to phase in same-day access. However, this bill does not require it to be fully implemented or even partially implemented until July 1, 2019.
This was a recommendation of the
Dean's,
Mental Health
Mental Health Commission of the 21st Century.
Okay, and second, all in favor, please cast your vote. Clerk will close the roll. Substitute report 17-0. Please go ahead, Susan.
The next bill, House Bill 2095, is Delegate Price's bill. This is to register peer recovery specialists and qualified mental health professionals. This bill has a fiscal impact, non-general funds to hire a position in the Department of Health Professions to actually get this program started and running the registration program. It's non-general funds that would be funded through the fees that individuals pay for the registration. All right, the next bill is House Bill 2209. This is Delegate O'Bannon's bill. This is an amendment in the nature of the substitute coming up from HWI committee. There is a need to add an enactment clause on this bill. I don't know if you want me to read what that would be. Okay. After line 156 in the bill, a second enactment would say that the provisions of this act shall not be effective unless the Commonwealth receives federal high-tech funds to implement its provisions. The next bill is House Bill 2300, Delegate O'Bannon's bill. This has to do with the frequency of inspections for emergency medical services, vehicles, hospitals, hospices, home care organizations, restaurants, etc. in the Department of Health. It just says that they would not inspect them until they've done all of the classes of those particular inspections. However, it does allow for additional inspections that if they're necessary, following a number of criteria as it's written now. And this is an amendment in the nature of a substitute from HWI. As amended, it does not have a fiscal impact. And the last bill is House Bill 2417, Delegate Landis's bill. This has to do with fraud prevention, prepayment analytics. It directs the Department of Medical Assistance Services to establish a program to mitigate, through the use of prepayment analytics, the risk of improper payments to providers. This came out of a JLARC study several years ago, and it does have a fiscal impact in fiscal year 18. It's expected that there will be future savings and cost avoidance that will accrue to the Medicaid program once they get this up and running. It's a fiscal impact of $742,000.
Move report. All in favor, please stand your vote.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, we, the subcommittee just took up another bill, House Bill 1945. This is Delegate Peace's bill, and this bill has no fiscal impact. And I think you saw subcommittee recommended reporting. Okay, let me just, hang on, I don't have that one.
Mr. Chairman. I have to try to help out. The substitute that came out of HWI addressed a point made in the fiscal impact statement, which said if the definition of adult as referenced in other parts of the code as 60 years or older were added to the bill as introduced, it would eliminate the fiscal impact. The purpose of the bill is to broaden the consideration of what adult exploitation would be in certain circumstances, and it was a result of a DARS report that was commissioned out of legislation that passed last session, and upon information has been provided both to the Health Committee as well as the Commission on Youth, a study in Utah which found that incidents of adult exploitation cost the state a lot of money. In Virginia, it was extrapolated to suggest that adult exploitation cost the state upwards of $1.8 billion, and we're trying to get at issues of adult exploitation in our community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. The first bill is House Bill 1410. This is Delegate Albo's bill. The subcommittee did adopt an amendment in the nature of a substitute that's before you. What the bill does, it does three things. First,
Hang on a second, I need to get a motion on the substitute. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, substitute. Okay, sir.
so first thing it does is that it establishes as a policy that, that institutions other than Norfolk State, Virginia State, and VMI will establish a policy of not having more than 30% of their out-of-state, 30% of their students, of their undergraduate students coming from out of state. However, that's not a hard cap. If they choose to go above 30%, the additional students, the revenue from those additional students after covering the cost of education from that revenue, that additional revenue would be used to lower the cost of tuition for in-state undergraduate students. The second thing it does is that it directs the Joint Subcommittee studying higher education to look at the issue of the use of tuition for financial aid and to look at some best practices nationwide and to see how, what an appropriate policy might be. And then the third thing it does is that it directs that when the boards of visitors are being taught and trained, that they are also, that they understand that they have a duty to the Commonwealth and its citizens. So those are the three things that it does, Mr. Chairman, and the subcommittee reported the bill, reported the substitute.
William Governor and Delegate Garrett.
Just a brief question, Mr. Chairman, thanks very much. I just want to understand, is this a hard cap again, did you say, or is this kind of a guidance thing?
It is not a hard cap. It essentially is that they should establish as policies to achieve 30%, but if they choose to go beyond 30%, the revenue that's generated moving beyond 30%, once you cover the cost of the students that move beyond that move you beyond that, that extra revenue will be used to lower in-state tuition.
He's pondering it. Delegate Garrett, and I'm sure they'll come to the button again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I apologize, I'm just now reading this for the first time. But Tony, as I read this, if we had a college, a public college or university that had, say, 10,000 students on campus and 100,000 online students, they effectively could have every on-campus student now be out of state. Is that correct? Because that'd be more than 30%, less than 30% of their total full-time equivalent undergraduate students.
Part of this would depend upon, I mean, again, 100,000 students, they might be taking one course each. So this is FTE is what we count. FTE relates to 30 credit hours. So, and there is a report that is gathered by Chev, and that's what this would be based on, which first looks at your total annual FTE, and then looks at what 30% of that is, and then looks at your actual out-of-state annual enrollment also reported by Chev, and compares those numbers. I don't know of any school that has a significant online component that, and I'm not sure that how those are measured in terms of in-state and out-of-state, because you really wouldn't necessarily know that where those students might be coming from. The internet is sort of broken down geographic barriers here, so to speak. So I can't really comment on that particular part of the question. I'm not sure of any institution that's even remotely close to that.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow.
Yes, sir.
So it's not obviously public, but private institutions, college in my community.
Private college, this would
I
not be
know it doesn't
private.
apply, I'm just saying they could certainly get to that, and it strikes me that that is a model, and the 21st century is more online and more opportunities, if for no other reason, for the cost to our families. Do you, Mr. Chairman, did you have some sort of testimony of how many public colleges or universities this would actually apply to?
This would impact two institutions, the College of William and Mary and the University of Virginia. They're the only two that are above 30%.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Knight, and then Delegate Lingenfeld.
Mr. Chairman, I saw Delegate Lingenfelter pondering down there, and I wanted to let him know that VMI, Norfolk State, and VSU are exempted from this 70-30.
Mr. Chairman, I may be deaf, but I'm not that deaf. Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I could, I've just got a question about the out-of-state students who are, say, on an ROTC scholarship to UVA or to William and Mary. And is scholarship money included in this sort of tuition number that if you went over 30%, all of a sudden then you're scooping that up as well?
Well, I mean, at the end of, Mr. Chairman, the Delegate Lingenfelter, the source of a student's money, be it scholarship, Pell Grant,
Doesn't matter.
loan, it's all green to the institution when it comes in.
Got it.
Any other questions? Substitute for us. All in favor, please stand as you vote. Here we go. It's all right. All right.
Next bill, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 1721. This is Delegate Anderson's bill. What this does is it's permissive. It provides the State Board of Community College with the ability to charge a lower tuition and fee rate for, it's a very narrow group of students. You have to be on active duty in the armed forces. You are enrolled in a program at the college that offers an online degree program and is a member of the National Council of State Authorization Reciprocity. And then third, you're enrolled in training that leads to a military occupation specialty, an MOS, in the Army, Marine Corps, Air Force, or Navy enlisted classifications. If all those criteria are met, you can offer a lower tuition charge. There was no fiscal impact. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill. Next one, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 1848. This is Delegate Hester's bill. This would provide, we have a program already for children who are in foster care that provides some scholarship money. This would expand that program to also allow those dollars to be used if they wanted to go into a career technical, non-credit workforce type program at the community colleges. The dollars are already out there. There is no fiscal impact. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill. Next bill, Mr. Chairman, is Delegate Cox's bill, House Bill 2262. There is an amendment in nature of a substitute before you on this that was adopted by the subcommittee. This is the Online Virginia Network Authority Bill. What it does is that the